Hello and welcome to another episode of Starside Chat. I'm one of your hosts, Zach Owens, and joining me as always is Aaron Kappa.
Zach, we're back.
We are back. It's been a little while.
It's been a little while, but we've reconvened on the eve of, well, it's not the full eve of, but Gamescom is next week, so there's going to be lots of news next week. So
I think as this podcast goes up, it will be on the eve of Gamescom. So yeah.
Well, there you go.
It counts.
We'll be doing some Gamescom's predictions, but there's also a lot of news that we have to cover since we've been gone for so long.
Well, I am excited to actually talk about some games because I believe you have finished Donkey Kong Bananza.
Yes, sort of. I've not done a lot of the post-game stuff, but I have rolled credits on it.
You rolled credits. So you're further than I am on that, but I have put a lot of time into it since we last talked. And I've also started that Pac-Man Metroidvania, the Shadow Labyrinth, and I've been playing some of the Battlefield 6 beta. So that'll be fun to talk about. And yeah, a bunch of news and stuff has happened since we last recorded as well.
Two different Nintendo Directs have occurred.
Yeah, I think one of them did not knock my socks off, so we're going to skip over that one and talk about the Indie World Showcase instead, because I think that one had a lot more interesting stuff. And then, yeah, we got to get into Gamescom opening night live. So that's going to be, I think, a full episode by the time we get through all that. So do you want to start with Indie World Showcase?
Yeah, some good stuff in this. Kind of the craziest thing about this, I mean, there's some cool stuff in here. They start off with like a Mina the Hollower thing that looked very cool. And they also released a demo for that. So you can, I don't know if it's still up, but you can check it out. A crazy thing about this, though, is like they had all these cool trailers, and a lot of it was just like, okay, this is cool. I'm sort of into this. At the very end, they had a little like, here's other things coming to the Nintendo Switch too. And there was like a 5-second clip. I think it was like the last thing they showed, and it was UFO 50 is releasing for Switch 2 today. And I was like, oh man. They put it at the very end for some reason. They didn't really even comment on it, but I feel like that's a big deal. And I bought it. I downloaded it and have started playing it. But what else? I can talk about it when we are in what we've been playing and watching.
Yeah, I'm very curious on your impressions on that game. And
what else piqued your interest with this?
Well, so I'm a big fan of that sort of solo developer who has made, what is the name of that Metroidvania? Crypt Custodian that we talked about last year, and a couple others. He has a new game coming out called Well Dweller. Islets is the other game I was trying to think of. But so there was a trailer for it, and it looks pretty crazy. I think it is probably another sort of side-scrolling Metroidvania. So maybe a little bit more in the vein of Islets, whereas Crypt Custodian was a little bit more of a top-down Zelda-like version of a Metroidvania. I enjoy his games, so I'm definitely probably going to pick this up when it comes out on Switch 2, but it's not coming out until 2026, so a little ways to wait on that. But what stood out to you?
I like the look of that Neverway game. Neverway is I guess it's what a thing I didn't realize about it until I watched this trailer is that it's very horror based, but it's got a great art style. Kind of reminds me of that like Eastward game a little bit. But yeah, it's like kind of a horror game. There's farming elements. It seems very narrative based. Even though you do have a farm and you're doing things, it's not necessarily going to be like a Stardew Valley type of thing where you wake up every day and tend to your crops. It seems like it's more of a like a point A to point B type of thing. I love the aesthetic of it. I don't know if I am into it being a horror game.
Yeah.
But it's one that I might check out. That's also coming out in 2026.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to download the demo for Mina the Hollower?
No, I didn't. I've been digging into, I've been trying to finish up all the Donkey Kong Bananza stuff. There is like a large post game. And then I've also been doing that UFO 50. So I haven't had a chance to check out the demo yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I know that game is like super hyped. So people are excited for it. It looks great. Yeah. I watched someone play a lot of the demo and it looks very cool. I didn't realize you could have different weapons in it. Yeah, it does look cool. So maybe we will check that out at some point and talk about it on the podcast. But speaking of things that came out, I don't know if you remember Castle Crashers very well, but this was like a big Xbox Live Arcade game back in the 360 generation that came out, and I remember loving it and have been like anticipating a Castle Crashers 2, basically since that game came out, and it has never happened, but there's going to be a DLC if it's not already out, or I believe it's like 17 years old at this point.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they announced Castle Crashers' first new DLC, and it is actually out now. I have not checked it out yet, but crazy to me that just sort of out of the blue, out of nowhere, they're like, hey, here's a DLC for this super old side-scrolling beat-em-up game that everybody loved back in the Xbox Live Arcade days. So, I don't have anything interesting to say about it because I haven't played it, but I find that very fascinating that so many years later.
It's like when they release one of the... isn't there someone else who this year is releasing a game for the original NES? Like they're releasing a cartridge for the original NES.
Are they? That's crazy to me.
I feel like I read that somewhere.
I feel like I've seen some people do that before with like the Genesis or something like that, where they'll like somehow release like this special edition, like it's limited edition, you can get like a cart and somebody has made a game that will run on the Genesis or something like that. So that's I guess not surprising, but crazy nonetheless.
So there were two Nintendo Directs that happened. There was the Indie World Showcase, which we touched on. There was also that Partner Showcase, which I mean, did you watch that? It was kind of not a lot going on.
Yeah, I saw, like, I scrolled through a list of, like, what was shown at that, and I was not overly impressed by it.
The only thing I really cared about was, in the middle of it, they revealed a new Katamari Damacy game, which is kind of crazy. There hasn't been one. There was one for, like, Apple Arcade last year, I feel like, that nobody played because it's on Apple Arcade. But Once Upon a Katamari is coming out for Switch in October 24th of this year, and it looks crazy. It seems like you can have items. The main like conceit of this one is it's through time. So like you're going back in time. There's a part where you're like in the pyramids. There's like old time like Edo Japan and stuff. There's a bunch of new cousins you can collect, and there's also, like I said, there's items. So you can create like these like there's a part where you have like rockets, which looks crazy to me. You can also create your own prints, which is very cool. It seems like it's like innovating in a crazy way that like We Love Katamari did not do, even though that was a great game. I'm highly anticipating this game as being something I'm going to check out and play because I love the original Katamari Damacy, and I liked We Love Katamari as well. So this looks very cool to me. Mm-hmm. Dinosaur level. There's a dinosaur level.
I think I downloaded one of those Katamari games at one point. Maybe didn't one come out on Stadia, I think? Maybe that's where I played it. I don't know. I played a little bit of one. I don't think maybe I didn't own it, and that's why I didn't get to play all of it. But yeah, it's an interesting style of game for sure.
I love it. I'm super into this. As I'm watching this, it seems like it's maybe only coming out for the Switch, but that seems crazy to me. It's got to be coming out for the Switch too. I feel like
it was announced before the Switch 2, and I thought this was maybe like a, hey, it's coming to Switch 2 kind of a thing. I feel like we talked about a new Katamari game coming out.
We talked about the one for Apple Arcade that was like, I think it was called like Katamari Live or something, and the conceit of that one was that the King of the Cosmos had become a Twitch streamer, and you had to go do stuff to get his followers to like you. But this is like a full featured. And I hope this does come out to Switch too. I mean, I guess I still have my original Switch. It's also coming out for PS5 and Xbox and everything. So, not necessarily tied to the Nintendo ecosystem. But I predict there's also a big thing about this is there's a bunch of new songs because the songs in these games are always so great. You can also unlock costumes from like the past series, which is very cool. I don't know. I'm very into this. This is a game that I am highly anticipating.
Yeah. Did you want to touch on UFO 50 or did you want to jump into Apex Legends stuff?
I'll just say, so UFO 50 has been pretty cool. I'm just like slowly looking at different games. I've probably unlocked less than 5 of the games. Maybe less than 10. But very interesting. Similar to Katamari, I think the thing that is connecting with me the most in UFO 50 is the music. There's a game where it's kind of a cookie clicker type of thing where you're just like, you've crash landed on a planet and you are having these like spirit crystals that you have to collect. And then you do things to collect more at a time. And then you do things to turn the crystals into another thing. And then you like upgrade everything. And the music in that one, it's like maybe a 15-second loop of music, but it's like so good. I just like sitting on it and just listening to that music happen. And just like all the design is like all the characters in that game, in every game that I've played so far, have just been like beautifully rendered. I don't know if it's going to be like a game of the year or anything, but I think it's a real delight that people should check out.
Mm-hmm. Was that like in the conversation during Game Awards last year?
I don't think so. I think it really flew under the radar.
I thought, I know we talked about it, but I don't know if it was like on the list of like nominated indie games.
I think it suffers from, a lot of times I think a thing will happen where a game will come out and it's only on Steam. So it's like in the zeitgeist and people are like, oh, this game is so good. But because it's not on any consoles, nothing really pops off about it. I think that's what happened with Hades 2 as well. Hades 2 it's a game I'm really looking forward to, but it's not on a console yet. And so I feel like a lot of people are waiting for that 1.0 release to be on console and then they'll check it out.
Yeah, that does happen a lot. I remember with a situation where that Baldur's Gate 3, like a demo came out for that, or it was like playable in some sort of early state.
Yeah, it was playable for a long time before it got 1.0.
Yeah, and like people had like positive reactions to it, but it didn't like explode until it actually came out on consoles like the next year or something like that. So maybe it's going to be a similar situation to that, where it's like, I don't know, Hades 2 will suddenly become like a huge deal. So
I think that's true. I think it will really explode once it comes out on Switch and like PlayStation and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I've been playing Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, like off and on, which is like a sort of a very Hades-like game. And so I like have an appetite for that now. So if they dropped Hades 2 on Switch 2, I would be all over it. So
Apex?
Let's talk Apex. I hear you have been playing some Apex recently.
I've been getting a little bit into it. What kind of kicked this off for me is Fortnite released that new Blitz mode, which I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it's like a very slimmed down, typically an episode or a match of Fortnite will last, if you get, to the very end, it lasts like, 30 minutes maybe, because you're like running around and stuff. Whereas Blitz mode is maybe like 10 minutes or like 15 maybe, like half the time, because it's very fast. There's like fewer people, it's a smaller zone, and also all the weapons are like epic and already kitted out and stuff. And so I don't know if this is a direct response to that, but Apex Legends in their new Season 26 that just launched has this new wildcard mode, which they say is now a permanent mode. And very similarly, it's a smaller space. It's not the whole map. It's all the weapons are already kitted out with like stuff, and it's just like a faster thing. And also, you respawn as long as one person on your squad is still alive. So, I played a little bit of this. And like everybody dropped at this one place. It's only on Kings Canyon right now. But I would drop in and I would kill like 3 people and then I would die. And like one person on my team was still alive. And so I would just continue to do that. and I racked up like 20 kills, which is kind of crazy. High. I mean, I'm usually not getting that amount of kills in an Apex game.
This is why I like
just play it way differently.
This is why I like the arcade modes that they had that were more like standard Call of Duty or Battlefield modes that were like team deathmatch or like domination or something like that. Like they have a playlist for that. And that's why I played those instead, because everything was already kitted out and you just like selected which like loadout of weapons and stuff you wanted. And then you would, when you died, you'd get a chance to respawn. And so you could rack up like 20 kills, and it was more fun because it felt like you were actually doing things as opposed to
I think
just
you would like this mode. All the weapons are like gold or red or whatever. And it's very fun. I gotta say, I've also been playing the regular Apex mode, which they have made some changes to that make it more seamless. I feel like every time I check back into Apex, they've added a ton more like quality of life stuff that make it's just like, oh yeah, why haven't they been doing that forever? And this is not, I don't believe this is the 2.0 update they've been talking about. A couple of months ago, we talked about how like the CEO or something of EA was like, yeah, we gotta do a big overhaul on Apex. We'll do it after Battlefield. So I don't think that this wildcard mode is this like big 2.0 update they were planning, but it is something pretty significant that to play it really changes the game. But yeah, Apex Legends is great. I gotta say, I wish I liked Fortnite more because there's more to collect in Fortnite, and there's not a ton of stuff I want to collect in Apex, but I just like playing it. So it's been fun to dive back in.
I mean, when I was into Apex, it was mainly because like I was in the mood to play like a team deathmatch or domination style shooter, but I didn't want to buy Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And so it was just like free to download, and I didn't want to like pay for a PlayStation or Xbox subscription to be able to play it online. And Apex you can just download, and so you just have those modes available and you're like good to go. So I mean, it does still have that appeal to it, but yeah, and I hear that the Switch 2 version is much better than it was on Switch 1. I don't like
I played the Switch version and it was rough. Very hard to play actually. But yeah, you sent me that video and they have enabled like mouse support for the Switch 2 version, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, so you can put your Joy-Con on its side and use like mouse mode with it. And so that is crazy. It's sort of like getting a somewhat PC-like version of the shooter. But yeah, and the big thing is that it just runs so much better and it looks sharper and everything with the Switch 2 version. So it is a huge file size. So you're going to want an SD card that you can have in your Switch so that you can have space for it. But
I just am now realizing I have not bought an SD card from my Switch 2. Have you done that?
I have not, which is why I'm not going to be downloading Apex on my Switch 2. But yeah, you have to have a like proprietary thing, don't you? You have to get like an actual Switch 2 SD card. Is that what they said?
I think you have to have one that's rated for Switch 2, and right now the only one is the Nintendo one, but I'm sure third-party ones will come out eventually.
Yeah, so I have not done it. I don't know. I haven't run into a storage issue just yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
I basically only have like 3 games, and most of them are on cartridges, so.
Well, I think it like when I set it up, it was sort of like when you get a new phone, you can like plug in your old phone to your new phone and it just like auto transfers everything. It did that with the Switch as well. And so it ported over all the games I had downloaded on the Switch, but I have mostly been like a box copy for Switch 2 or Switch and Switch 2 games so far. So storage has not been an issue yet, but if I downloaded Apex, it would be. So
yeah.
So yeah, what is this Guilty Gear Strive news?
Zach, do you like Guilty Gear Strive?
I have never played it.
I played. Oh man, this was a long time. This is maybe on like PlayStation 2, perhaps. I played a Guilty Gear game when I was in high school that I was really into. I didn't really understand the controls because it's a very complex game. I kind of would just mash buttons and crazy stuff would happen. But I loved to look at it. The characters were all very cool, lovingly animated, and Guilty Gear Strive is the latest game in that line. And it is a game that I like to watch people play, but it's way too hard. Like, this is not a Smash Brothers type of thing where you just, like, every character has, like, a down B or whatever. This is one where you have to, like, each character plays way differently, and because of that, like, the mechanics of controlling them are way different. And you have to, like, be aware of all these, like, meta games that are going on at one time. It's not a game I'm going to play, I don't think. However, Evo happened while we were on our break. And at that event, that fighting game tournament event, they revealed new DLC for Guilty Gear Strive, and it is a character from the Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime, which is a great anime. It is Lucy. And I watched this trailer, and I was like, man, it really made me want to play Guilty Gear Strive. I don't think I am capable of doing that because it's too complicated.
Yeah.
But I just thought this was an awesome crossover. Like, her moves all look really cool. She has like that laser whip thing, and her I don't know the terminology or whatever for these games, but whatever the equivalent of her like final smash is very cool because she like uses the UI from Cyberpunk to like hack into them and stuff. I just thought this was cool. I'm not recommending people play Guilty Gear Strive because it seems like the learning curve is insane. It's a game that's been out for a while. It has like a big following, and it's beautiful to watch. I would say if you want to interact with Guilty Gear Strive, just like watch someone play it, because all the characters are very cool and have very unique movesets.
I do remember it coming out and thinking that the art style for it was pretty crazy.
It's awesome. The one I played in high school, I think, was a little bit easier to wrap your head around because I could actually like beat some characters in it and play around with it. I think it's gotten way too dense. It's not something I want to learn about, but I just thought this was a very cool DLC.
Yeah, it's a Season 4 DLC character that's coming out on August 21st. So that's Thursday as this podcast is going
it's coming
out
soon.
So yeah, you won't have to wait for that long if you are into this fighting game. I think
this week, though...
Oh, go ahead.
What were you going to say? Because I was going to transition to the next thing.
I was going to say the last fighting game that I was really into was that Dragon Ball Z one.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball's Fighters or something like that, whatever it was. And that game also had like a really cool art style that looked very anime, kind of like this one, but the controls were a little bit more simplistic. They were a little bit more Smash Brothers like. And that's what I want. You swapped back and forth between like 3 characters at a time. So, and you could like sort of chain moves together like that. So it was like pretty cool.
What do you think of that Marvel one that is, I think came out, maybe is coming out soon? The one that's like from a Japanese developer. Have you seen that?
No.
It's got a Japanese name, but it's a Marvel property and it's a fighting game and it looks really cool. That's another one where it's beautifully animated, but it looks a little bit too complex for me.
Yeah, I feel like most fighting games are too complex for me. I pretty much need a Smash Brothers style, like dumbed down, simplistic thing in order to be able to do it. But I think they look cool. I'm never good at them.
Zach, do you have any predictions for Gamescom Opening Night Live, which is happening Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central?
The only one that matters is release date for Silksong.
Yes. Yes, it will be playable. Multiple people that I follow online have said, Mossbag specifically, I think. Well, actually, he's not going to be there. But people who run like that YouTube channel, the guy who runs the YouTube channel that is like, Is There Silksong News Today? I think he's going to be at Opening It Live because there's going to be this big demo. And I'm very curious to know what this demo includes. Because, long ago, there was that Nintendo Treehouse. And we saw large segments of, I think it was like the Moss Grotto, they called it. I'm not super up to date on all this stuff. It's been a while. And we also saw a lot of the like lava area that had like a bunch of bells.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen those 2 areas, but I mean, surely there's many, many more. And so I'm curious if it's just going to be a rehash of the previous demo or if we'll get totally new zones. But I'm sure there's going to be lots of video coming out of people just like recording on screen these things. And yeah, my main prediction is that during opening night live, we will get, I would say a release date would be something I would think, because we know that they have said it's going to be playable on that new Xbox handheld, which is coming out this year. So, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I've said this a million times on this podcast, but I feel like it's time for us to get a release date.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like more than ever you can say that with some degree of confidence, simply because it's going to be actually playable. And if they've got the thing in a playable state at this point, then I mean, what's left to do? But
what's left to do? Get
the release date out there. What if it's a hot drop?
I don't think it will be. It would be crazy if it was. I predict that it will be maybe in October. And I think it'll have a cartridge you can buy. I think it'll have a special edition.
I would love that. I would definitely buy a physical copy of this on Switch too, and love to have it. So
with a map. I'd love to have a map.
Yeah. When we got the physical copy on Switch 1 for Hollow Knight, it came with an actual fold-out map, and that was great. I would love to have a similar situation for Silk Song, but that's my only real big prediction, other than I suspect maybe we'll see some more of that Bond game, 007 First Light.
Oh yeah, I would watch some content about that.
I would like to see some more of that game. I kind of almost don't think we will see anything from GTA 6, or probably also not that Wolverine game that's going to be on PlayStation.
How crazy that we haven't even seen anything about that.
I know. I feel like we got that reveal trailer like so long ago, and we still haven't seen anything.
And there was that leak that happened with all that gameplay. But other than that, we have gotten zero official word on it.
Yeah, it would be nice. But so let's get into, I guess, the confirmed stuff. So we know it's going to be like Black Ops 7 heavy, probably. Supposedly, there's like it's rumored that it's going to in a somewhat Fortnite-like direction. I'm not sure if I know what that means, but I guess we'll see. Resident Evil Requiem, so there's going to be some more stuff for Resident Evil. I thought this was a typo, but it actually is called Silent Hill F. Supposedly Souls-like combat for that, so I guess
interesting.
That's out there. Probably see some more Ghost of Yotei and Ninja Gaiden 4, and then let's see, Outer Worlds 2. They're gonna have like a trailer for that, focusing on some gameplay maybe. So I'm into that. I will probably check that game out when it comes out, because I like the first one a lot. And there's talk of an orchestral performance from the Clair Obscur Expedition 33 soundtrack, and also a trailer for Fallout Season 2.
I have one more prediction.
Okay.
There was a teaser trailer which revealed the existence of Darksiders 4.
Oh, really?
And so I think it's possible that we might get some Darksiders 4 information.
Man, that would be crazy. That's like another almost like classic franchise being revived if they do that.
Did you ever play the third one? I couldn't get into it.
No. I think I only actually played the first one and then maybe part of the second one. I don't remember it
I
too
loved
well.
the second one a lot. The first one was good, but it was like towards the end it got a little bit like you have to run back to all these places to do this thing. And the second one, I feel like, refined the formula. But then the third one was a symptom of, I feel like, Souls-likes getting really big. Because it kind of it didn't do the thing that Darksiders 1 and 2 did, where you were constantly collecting interesting items. It was basically a Zelda game, where like you were getting different gadgets that you could use to fight, but also like you had a hook shot and stuff. And the third one I played a little bit of, and it was basically just like combat the game, where you're just like, you have to dodge, and then there are large enemies that you're fighting. And it wasn't as interesting to me as the previous ones, which were kind of more platformers almost.
Yeah, they were heavily inspired by Zelda games. So
I loved that first one. I thought was awesome, and the second one I thought was even better, because the first one you were War, the second one were you Death, I believe. You had that scythe, and then the third one I think you were Wrath, and that you had like a big whip, and yeah, it was just like I cannot get into it. But who's the fourth horseman? Pestilence? Is that it, or
I don't
disease?
know. Maybe
I don't know what it is. But I got my eye on this one. I'd have to like watch a recap about what happened in the third game. Maybe I'll try to get back into it. I think I still own it on Steam. It was like too much Souls for me.
Wasn't there a spin-off like Darksiders Genesis, and it was like a Diablo-like style game?
Oh, was it? That sounds familiar to me, but I don't know that I'm aware of it.
I vaguely recall that one, and I thought it looked cool, but I don't remember if I played it or not. I kind of don't think so, because I feel like I would remember it if I did. But yeah, do you think we'll get a Hades 2 release date?
I could see that being the case. Yeah, I would predict that.
So, okay, we're going with Hades 2 and Silksong both get release dates. Definitive release dates. Physical copies, everything.
I don't know if Hades 2 will get a physical copy. I assume they will.
I'm trying to remember whether or not Hades 1 launched with a physical copy or not.
I don't think that it did. I think people know that this is a really great game, and people have a lot of love for the first one. So I think if they don't get like an official one, they'll get one of those like third-party official releases.
Yeah,
that are
that's
like
true.
Custom boutique cartridges.
Yeah, one way or another it will eventually, but
Silksong, though, I think will get legitimate box art and stuff.
That would be awesome. I would love it if it launched with like boxed copies. So let's dive into what we're playing, watching, because we got a lot of stuff on the list. I actually want you to start out with UFO 50, unless you don't have anything additional to say on it.
I guess my favorite game so far has...
Yeah, go. I was going to ask you what your favorite game was, so...
Probably that Cookie Clicker one, actually, because I just love the music of it so much, and it just, there's so many interesting things you're unlocking. I also didn't realize, there's a central crystal, and you start out by just punching it, and then you get little crystals out of it, and you can use those to buy things. In the upper left-hand corner, there is just a chilled out, very calm-looking tree. And he's like, hey, if you give me crystals, I can create these plants that create crystals for you. So, like, you need to, like, give him crystals so that he can then make more crystals every second. You do that for a while, but then eventually he's like, okay, this is great. Now I need, like, 5,000 crystals for the next plant. And you're like, whoa. I'm producing, like, 100 every minute or something. And so I played a different game for a while. But then I came back to it, and it's just always running. It, like, knows. And so I came back, and it was like, hey, you have 4,000 crystals. I was like, oh, my God. Which I was not expecting. But I guess it's just, like, it doesn't necessarily suspend it. It, like, is still running in the background. I don't know. I don't think I've played enough of it to have a definitive favorite game yet. Although I did try to play that Barboda a whole bunch, which people say is a great one. And I found that to be inscrutable in a way I did not enjoy.
Which one's that one?
I think it's the first game you can unlock. You're like a little knight, and you walk very slowly, and you have a little sword, and you're kind of just going around. There's no instructions whatsoever. You're kind of just wandering around this castle. So, I mean, it is very much like an NES game, where like you probably wouldn't have any ability to know what's going on. And if this game had come out on like Super Nintendo, I think it would be an insane classic that everyone would talk about to this day. But yeah, I need to dig a little bit deeper in and find like the real gems.
Well, I am so curious. I don't know how we tackle talking about Donkey Kong Bananza since I haven't finished it.
Where are you at right now?
You have rolled credits. So I think I just got the elephant power.
Okay.
I don't know how much more there is after that, but isn't that the last one? Or was there another one?
There's another one.
Because I've got the Kong one. I've got the... What is it? The zebra. And the ostrich and the elephant. And I guess...
There's one more.
I guess there is one more.
I will say, though, of all the Bonanzas, the elephant is my favorite. And it's the one that I have slotted most often.
Yeah, it's cool because you just like suck up the entire level as opposed to having to break it apart, which makes it so much simpler to like remove terrain and find like extra, I don't know, coins and treasure boxes and stuff like that.
Well, it's great for collecting gold as well. Like there's a part towards the end where you're sort of gated by needing gold. There's like a fractone who's like, I will do this thing for you, but I need 9999 gold. And I had 10 gold at that point. And so I had to go back, and with the elephant, if there's a bunch of gold around, you can just suck it all up. Mm-hmm. There's a specific level actually where there's a giant golden thing. And so I went to that level and I just used the elephant to suck it all up. And then I would just re-go to that level. And I only had to do that like 3 times. And then I had 9999 gold. And it was great.
Have you, like, as you've gone through each of the different layers, did you like take the time to actually find everything before you advanced? Because I started doing that.
I get the like level 2 version of one of the outfits. Like I don't get all the outfits. So there are definitely some fossils I need to find.
Yeah.
But if I see a banana, I try to get it. There was only one that I was like, I'm not engaging with this. I can't do this.
You can buy like treasure maps from one of the vendors in each of the layers. And so I would get to a point where I would just like, I would try to explore fully and like complete basically the main objective for that layer. But before I would advance, I would just like go explore and try to find everything that was like already highlighted on my map from having found like treasure maps as I've destroyed the area. But then I would go to that vendor and start buying treasure maps until I eventually found everything. Or I would just like look up a YouTube video where somebody had like given a guide for how to find everything. Because it's super easy. You can go into your menu and each of the like bananas are numbered. So you could like say, where is banana 6 on this layer? And there's like a very clear way to find it. Whereas I don't think it's as simple maybe with the fossils, but
yeah, the fossils are a little bit harder to figure out exactly how to like describe them to get them online. But there are a bunch of videos where people are like, here's every fossil in such and such a layer.
Yeah. So it's pretty easy to find, which is nice. But yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot. I don't know if I'm as high on it as some people. Some people are like, oh, this is clearly game of the year. And I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but I don't know if I like it as well as Odyssey or not.
Yes. I have 2 criticisms of it.
Okay.
The first is, like in regards to like Super Mario Odyssey, there are, I would say like 5 or 6 really, really good music tracks in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. I thought about this.
New Donk City
well.
is awesome. The like trees place is really great. That's kind of like a surf jam or whatever. I can't really think of any music that is really popping off in Donkey Kong.
The only one to me that is memorable that I've like actually gone back to listen to, like even outside of playing the game, is the Lagoon layer. That's like the only music that stood out to me as I've been playing this game. But you're right. I definitely thought about that too, where I was like, to this day, I can go back and enjoy so many tracks from the Mario Odyssey soundtrack, whereas there's maybe one standout track in Bonanza, but I guess that's a minor gripe. But
it's a minor gripe. Yeah.
But even like gameplay wise, I don't know why. I think Odyssey stands out in my memory maybe more. I have not gone back to revisit it since Bonanza, so I'm not sure how well it would hold up versus having just played Bonanza. But That's maybe an interesting experiment to try. But I don't know that I like it as well as Odyssey. So I don't.
I still like Mario Odyssey the better.
Yeah. So I don't know how high I am on it as far as like when we get to talking about Game of the Year stuff. But I also need to finish it and get it completely completed before I make any sort of rash statements on it. But I do think it's not going to beat Expedition 33 for Game of the Year. Like, that's my prediction, is that game takes Game of the Year, and not even that close. But
I think you're correct in that. My other criticism of this game, and I want to stress that it's not something I super care about. It's fine, but I mean there's a lot of frame drops in this game. Like I specifically towards the end when you'll just like punch giant columns of gold and they'll all like everything will be on screen just like particleized or whatever.
Yeah.
It slows down a little bit. There's some parts where it gets a little choppy, which is kind of crazy because it's the very beginning of the Switch 2's life cycle.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little bit
it's
like
the first game basically we're getting.
Yeah, it's a little bit like if Odyssey just was like a performance disaster.
It's crazy to like think that like we'll probably get a Switch 3 version of Donkey Kong Bananza and they'll be like frame rate issues gone, and it's probably gonna be like 10 years from now that we'll actually be able to play this without any frame rate issues.
I guess that's true. That probably will happen because that's what we're doing right now with like Switch 1 games. Play it on Switch 2 and have a much better performance situation.
I will also say sometimes the camera gets a little confused, especially when you go down into the earth. But I think the main thing about this that sets it apart from Super Mario Odyssey is that like I feel like just running around in Super Mario Odyssey was just a little bit more fun than running around in Donkey Kong Bananza. I mean, you can do that like turf surfing thing, which is fun, but I don't think anything beats just like rolling around as Mario and doing like that triple jump and like doing all your hat jumps and stuff. That's just like a more fun traversal method, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to do, like, you do roll, jump, and then roll again, and you can, like, make it pretty far by doing that, and that is, like, a pretty fun way to get around in Bonanza, but yeah, I don't think it's on the same level as Odyssey, where you have, like, your Cappy throws and bouncing off of that, and I think people got, like, there was just more room for, like, creative movement where you could like really get around in fun, interesting ways with Odyssey. But
I will say I have started to watch speedruns of Donkey Kong Bananza. People are trying to get it under an hour, and right now I think the world record is like an hour and 12 minutes. And they're crazy to watch. So I'm excited to watch like an official HDQ run that happens in the winter or whatever. But overall, I'm really liking it. I think it would be my game of the year if Silksong doesn't come out, but I think Silksong is going to come out, and I think it will be my game of the year.
I would love it if it does. Like, if we're like debating, Expedition 33 versus Silksong by the end of the year, and maybe even like Hades 2, I mean, that would be a pretty good year, I have to say.
Pretty good year, yeah.
But speaking of Metroidvanias, I've got like maybe 2 hours in on Shadow Labyrinth, which is the Pac-Man Metroidvania.
How is it? I'm so curious.
It's not as like crazy and polished and overwhelming as I thought it was going to be based on like the trailers we saw. It does feel a little less polished and cool, but it's still like fun. I mean, it's still a Metroidvania that mixes like, you'll be like they call him the sword wielder, is like sort of the main character who has like a prosthetic arm that picks up this sword. It's almost like Sword in the Stone style like intro, and your sort of character that's with you, your like support character, is named Puck, which I believe is like what they originally wanted to call Pac-Man, but yeah, then you like come up to these areas and it's like a little wire thing, and when you jump on it you turn into Puck and you go around, and it's very much like Pac-Man. And so you're going back and forth between running around and doing platforming as the sword wielder and switching back and forth between the Puck character. And so you have sort of similarly to like other Metroidvanias, you'll have these little save points where you can like enhance your health or your actually it's not your health, it's your sword attack damage and your basically like a stamina bar for when you want to use like your dodge roll or your special abilities. But you will defeat these bosses that you find, and then Puck will eat them and you gain like some sort of ability, and you eventually get to a point where you unlock, it's like it's almost like you turn into like a big, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like turning into Godzilla almost, and you like can thrash around with your claws, but you can also like, it allows you to go through these like steam vents that would normally damage the sword wielder, so it allows you to get to different areas you couldn't get to before. And that when you unlock that, you also have the ability to like consume enemies that you've defeated, so different creatures that you've encountered or bosses, and that gives you different resources that you can then spend on perks. So you start activating different perks that you can purchase from like a vendor with the resources that you get from consuming enemies. So it is a little bit like a mixture of that Grime game where there was like this element of consuming enemies to gain perks, but you also have a little bit of Hollow Knight in there, because you can also pogo off of enemies by doing like a downward slash with your sword. So it's like pulling in all these different sort of Metroidvania / Pac-Man style elements into one thing. So it is fun. I am enjoying it, and I'm enjoying exploring and like finding different paths and stuff like that. But it's not blowing me away at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain, because I think it's like solid, but not like, it's not going to be anybody's favorite Metroidvania of the year. But it's also like still kind of a fun game to play, because Metroidvanias in general are just fun to play. So, so it's not going to be game of the year by any means, but if you enjoy Metroidvanias, it's worth checking out. I think it's only like $30 too.
Not bad.
And it's on everything. So if you want to play it on Switch 2, like if you're looking for a Metroidvania to play on your new Switch 2 console, you can pick it up there and play it. I am playing it on PS5, I believe, because I think I pre-ordered this like a boxed copy from Best Buy before the Switch 2 came out. So it arrived and I had completely forgotten that I had ordered it. So it was a little bit of a surprise when I was like, oh yeah, this game, hey, check that out. And so I started playing it, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, that's a Shadow Labyrinth.
I'm also curious to hear about Battlefield 6 beta, because you jacked into it.
I did. I jacked into the matrix of Battlefield 6, which I believe comes out in October, like the actual full release of it. October 10th, I believe is what it is.
What does the beta include? Is it just like one map?
You get like a handful of different modes, so you can play Conquest or Squad Deathmatch, and then they have these like other ones that are like All-Out Warfare or Close Quarters, which are like playlists of different modes. So you'll like go, the All-Out Warfare one will like rotate between Conquest, Rush, and Breakthrough, and then the Close Quarters one will rotate between like Domination and Squad Deathmatch and King of the Hill. I think it's all different maps. Maybe it's more than I couldn't tell you for sure. I know there are like different maps that you'll play on, but like I haven't played the Conquest or Rush mode, so I don't know really what's going on with those. I've mainly done the Close Quarters one, because I kind of just enjoy the gunplay without worrying about the vehicles. Sometimes that can be fun, but also sometimes it's a little bit frustrating, because if you see a tank and you don't have anything you can deal with it, you just kind of get destroyed sometimes. So I guess that's an element of Battlefield, but yeah, I've been doing the close quarters one and just running around with my squad mates. And it does those modes, like the close quarters ones, do feel more like Call of Duty, except you have like the Battlefield class elements. So like I enjoy playing the support character because you can throw out these boxes that like restock people's ammo, but also like will heal them over time a little bit. And then you have like the defibrillator, so you can revive people, but everybody can revive their own squad mates, but you can't revive other teammates that are not in your squad, that are just on your team, if you don't have the support character and the defibrillators. And a new thing for Battlefield 6 is when you're not using the defib paddles and you're like going to revive a teammate or a squad mate, you can go up to them, and when you hit the button to revive them, you'll grab them and you can actually drag them back behind cover. And it actually works surprisingly well. I kind of thought it was going to be a little bit buggy, but it's not. It actually works really well. So that's kind of a cool thing that you can do for the first time in a Battlefield game in this one. And I have to say, for a Battlefield beta, it's running pretty good. I have to say, I was expecting it to be a lot more buggy than it was, because I feel like Battlefield betas are always like a little bit of a mess. But it's working pretty good. So I have to say, I've been enjoying it quite a lot. And I don't know when. I don't think they have a release date for Black Ops 7, but I think this is going to give it a run for its money. I think it helps that they had Vince Zampella, the former Call of Duty guy and the Apex guy, working on Battlefield 6. So I think that helped a lot with polish and with... I think they kind of know at this point that Battlefield games tend to launch in a bit of a buggy, messy state, and it takes them a few years to get it right eventually. But I always enjoy the Battlefield style more than the Call of Duty style. So I'm into it. I think I will probably play this game when it comes out.
They have a Battle Royale mode, right?
I don't know if they're planning on doing one for Battlefield 6 or not, but I don't think they do. At least they did not with the previous Battlefield. So I don't know if they're planning on having one for Battlefield 6 or not, but if there is one, I don't think it's in the beta. So I'm not sure about that, but I'm very much enjoying playing this beta, and yeah, looking forward to more. I do think it's a little bit, the only sort of controversial thing about it that I can think of is that they sort of combined the support class. It used to be that the assault class had like ammo boxes they would throw out so you could restock teammates, and then the support class would be like the healer, so they would throw out health boxes and do revives. And they sort of combined the throw out the ammo box and the health box to the support class, and now the assault class kind of feels underwhelming a little bit because you don't have that sort of support element where you can throw out ammo. I think that's the only real, like, I don't know if you balanced the classes as well as you could have, sort of a thing. But yeah, I've really been enjoying it so far, so I'll probably play a little bit more of it before the weekend is over. What else have you been watching or playing?
I watched the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth, which premiered this week on FX. And
what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was very cool. I thought they got the vibe of Alien down. It's interesting because it takes place on Earth. And so the first part of it is kind of I don't know if they're ever going to go back to it, but the first part of it is very Alien because it takes place on a ship. And there's like a crew, and they really match the vibe of the original Alien, where it's just like a crew hanging out. And then there's sort of like some fast cuts, and you realize that, something very similar to the original Alien happened on this ship. And they crash land on Earth. And so the other interesting thing about this is, like, we've pretty much only heard about Weyland-Yutani in that universe. But there are obviously other mega corporations, and they crash land in the zone of another mega corporation called Prodigy. And so the design aesthetic of that is different from Wayland Yutani in an interesting way. But I'm liking it. I will continue to watch it. They did a thing typically when, streaming shows come out, they'll release like the first half to reviewers, and then they can, like, the reviewers only get to review the first half of the season. With this, they released all 8, I think, because they were just confident of how good it was. And all the reviewers who've watched it have been like, this is all solid. Like, up until like the last episode, every single episode, including the last episode, is great. So like, you're in for a great ride, which is exciting. So I'll continue to watch that. And also, it made me watch that new Alien Romulus that came out last year. And that was also pretty good. Not a big horror guy, but the design aesthetic of these is always just so great. The like kind of retro futurism of it all. And yeah, I thought it was really good. Alien is a good franchise, I think, if you don't look at all the Prometheus ones.
Yeah, how many of those are there?
I think there are 4. 3 or 4, because there's Prometheus, Alien Covenant. I think there's a third one. There's like 3 or 4 of them that have Michael Fassbender as a robot who's just like doing bad stuff. None of those are good, I would say. But Alien 3 I know is controversial, and Alien 4 I know people don't like for a lot of reasons. But I think those 4, the quadrilogy, are very solid.
I like the first one and the second one. I don't know that I've ever seen the third one.
Third one's very controversial. It's Fincher, and it's very well known that the studio made a bunch of changes to it, and it made him like hate making movies because they like really took it away from him.
Mm-hmm. And then I think I have seen like Prometheus and maybe also Covenant, and I was not too hot on those 2.
Yeah, I did not care for
and
those.
So I've been kind of out on Alien ever since, but interesting that there's a TV show in the Alien franchise.
Yeah. I did also want to touch on this. I played the game Peak last week with a couple of my pals, and it was pretty fun. It's only like $8 on Steam. So if you are like in the mood to just like hang out with your friends and check something out for maybe like 2 or 3 hours, Peak just had a content drop. There's now a mesa biome. It's basically a game where you are on an airplane and then you crash land on a desert island, and you have to climb to the top of a mountain. And when you do that, it kind of loads the next area, and there's a new biome you have to climb to the top of. And there's like interesting, fun little items you can use. There's like a backpack and a bunch of fun little stuff to just play. It's one of those like friend slop games you hear about, where it's like it's a very cheap game that like you and 3 other friends can get together and just like mess around with and play around with stuff. But I thought it was really fun, and I recommend it if you are looking to connect with some people over the internet.
Was there anything like that? What is that? Was it Fall Guys? No. It's like Fallen. I don't know. The one that's like very physics based, and you're like solving puzzles with friends, but like you're kind of...
This is very physics based. And I think a better version of this eventually will be that one from those guys who are making... The guys who made the Untitled Goose Game are making this a game where you're on an island solving puzzles together. I think that's going to be a better version of this. I don't know when that's coming out, but to tide you over until that comes out, Peak, I think, is a great choice.
Well, on that note, do you have any parting wisdom?
We got some storms last night, and your inclination would probably be to close your windows during a storm. But I have cats, and cats actually are very interested in rain because I think it smells crazy to them. And so I would recommend, if you have cats, don't close your windows. Leave it cracked open. It'll get a little wet, but your cats will love to smell the rain.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
There you go.
Well, there you go. We should do, like, you did a series on, what was that animal that you loved?
Tapirs?
Tapirs. And I think now we go into a series of parting wisdom about cats.
Not a bad idea. I have a lot of stuff I could say. That's actually a really good idea. Look forward to that next week.
Yeah, look forward to that as an ongoing thing. And on that note, follow this podcast on Audible and YouTube Music, and Spotify. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.